Hi, my name is Lisa Brody, and everybody watches accesstv.org. Peace.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Do it like this. Ba-boom. Ba-boom. Do it like that. Yeah. Ba-boom.
This is Jonathan Small, broadcaster from accesstv.org studios. Today, August the 2nd, 2012. A very warm day here in the capital city. Hope everybody is enjoying their day. I got a lot of different issues that's been ongoing in my mind over the past couple of weeks since I started doing the small report. You kind of pick up as you go on with your format. I do a lot of listening, a lot of research, try to figure out, different ways of what's going on out here in society. And sometimes it always comes down to, what is the best solution to fix a problem. And I think we've been looked at over a long period of time, believing that it's either money or expertise, basically. And sometimes they probably have to go hand in hand. You take an auto mechanic and you bring your car to the auto mechanic, it needs to be fixed. He has to have the skill level to fix the problem, but you have to have the money to also pay for the problem to be fixed. And I think in this global society or this global economy that we have out here, we have a lot of money, but sometimes access to the money or capital and credit seems to be more difficult than people might be aware of, and they don't even understand why. Just a couple of days ago, I was looking on ESPN at some poker tournament, and I was kind of shocked towards the end when I found out that the winner won about $18 million. I know sports, you can make a lot of money. There's no doubt about it. And I don't know if this is a total accurate amount, this part of the tournament, but it seemed like it was real to me that, the winner got an excess of $18 million. And I would say playing poker is a form of gambling. This was legalized gambling. You have illegal gambling. But it gets into the point of, in society, what do you need to really obtain money or knowledge? Talent, skill, education, training. I don't think it's too much luck. I mean, I don't think this poker player won this tournament just on luck. So you have to have a lot of talent to know how to, figure out which chips to throw down on the table, which card to pick up on. I'm not averse on gambling and playing cards or poker. That's not my field. I like the regular sports, basketball, football. But money is a part of a solution towards many levels of what we need to get things done and to build, businesses, to build homes. Everything seems to cost a price. The knowledge aspect of what you need to learn and how to operate and how to put things together is just as important as the money aspect. Why the money is at a level where 1% gets control and the majority of it, the 60% kind of is in the middle, scrambling, doing, the working class. People say the middle class is even being squeezed out. And then the bottom level is just, people trying to do whatever that they can do, living off of one set levels of income. So money is the love of money is the root of all evil, but money is needed here in a capitalistic society. Capitalism and socialism is two areas that don't work together. You'll never see a capitalist and a socialist do business together. They just don't work together. Socialism can be very important in society to try to make sure everybody has at least something to function and to have at least a basic necessities. Capitalism is a small percentage of people controlling the vast majority of the wealth and resources that exist out here. The job market is totally changed where it was 40 and 50 years ago. You know, you don't need as many people today to do a lot of the work that exists out here. And many companies are sitting on a lot of money, and they are not putting that money towards hiring and bringing on new workers. Maybe they found a new strategy even beyond capitalism now to be able to function on your business, build your company, get the profits at a high level, but you don't need as many workers, and you don't have no intentions on adding many workers. So unemployment, if you don't have economic development and the creations of how to be an entrepreneur or to be a person that can participate in business where you can buy something and get a higher rate of return, or have some money to be able to have your money working for you, because you need money in this society, but you need knowledge to go along with it. You know, you need the mindset to know how to function, how to put things together, how to have an everyday life where you don't make drastic mistakes. You know how to prevent mistakes down the line. You know which direction to turn to. You know who to go to. I mean, it's all a form of education. Getting people properly trained and getting people properly educated, people think is something that everybody nowadays in this society needs some form of post-secondary education. You don't have to go to a 4-year college, but you need something beyond just high school to be able to adapt into the economy, to make somewhat of a livable wage and give you a real shot of a future. We don't have enough economic development all across the board to give a lot of people that needs work and opportunities the foot in the door process. You know, if we have to build a new economy and bring in new forms of businesses, which is needed, and I brought this up the day before yesterday about the reality world and the dream world. The dream world is you can perceive in your mind that everything needs to happen. You need this, you need that. The real world, again, is what is existing, what people that's in a position to have things available have in place, and what they desire to fund and finance. And that's the reality. I mean, whether you like it or you don't like it, it's the bottom line. You know, you're not going to go out there and break into somebody's business, take what they have, and think you can build your own business. You're not going to be able to go or hope that you can go to government policymakers, have them give you the type of money that you need to build what you feel is needed directly for yourself or even for your community. You can advocate for that. You can go out there and try to get involved in the political systems. My executive producer ran for mayor last year here in Hartford. He was not successful in winning the election. He had a tremendous goals to make some changes to actually put a dent in employment, to try to bring in a company that could really go towards giving people who have been locked out of the economic structure, who don't have the proper training or the proper criteria, and to be able to build up a tax base. Because again, in your urban settings throughout the country, you don't have a large scale of businesses. You don't have the type of tax structure in place. You have a lot of crime issues that turns businesses off from coming into the inner cities. So you have this so-called Department of Social System structure that just keeps people reliant on that system, and that's forms of how you get your money, you know, goes in from one hand and goes out to the other hand. I mean, you know, you're only taking in a little bit of money, purchasing whatever that you need, that you can get access to. And again, it's not really producing the knowledge that I think a community needs, and it's not producing the economic development that a community needs. You can call it whatever you want to call it, blight, decay, neglect, inner cities, distress, you know, any name you can call it. But the reality is a lot of people in those areas don't have the type of access to capital and credit that they really need to be competitive and to have the better quality of life and a better standard of living that the people particularly outside of those communities. Again, I'm going to mention one more time the suburban areas where you have smaller populations, you have the home ownership that's in most cases pretty high. You have businesses, you have a diversified economy, a lot different than what you see in your inner cities. You can almost put your downtown areas in most of your cities in a different era or a different level of economic structure than your residential neighborhoods. Downtown development and downtown businesses in most cities have people that don't live in the cities come into the cities, work, take the money out of the cities, and then invest it back into their communities where they live at. Many people who live in the cities are just consumers. They buy the goods and services, in most cases close proximity to where they live at. They're not in a position because of transportation issues and resource issues to really go out anywhere beyond 10 to 15 miles of where they directly live at. That could even be stretching it. And to be able to adapt into that form of that economy, unless you have some form of education, some form of training, some proper networking sources, most of the people in urban cities stay concentrated directly where they live at. They don't interact and do businesses beyond, in most cases, where they directly live at. Even when I graduate out of high school, you do have to, at that point, look for the jobs out of the city, but you don't get the type of jobs that you can kind of make the type of money that you need, that you can bring back into your residential areas to build up your city or your neighborhood to be really globally competitive. And it's a disgrace, because by me living in a capital city and actually doing the small report downtown, when I come here downtown, I see one world of skyscrapers, even though it's not like Chicago or New York, but it's, tall buildings, it's, small businesses that rely on, insurance. We are or used to be the insurance capital of the world. That might be changed. And then when I leave here, and of late, because I don't have my car actually in place up until this point, which I thought I would, I see the neighborhoods of people just standing on the sidelines doing the same routine every single day. I see the home structures not really being prosperous. I mean, there's been some dramatic improvements, but I'm not saying the type of land space, the type of development beyond the norm. You see a few small businesses that come into certain areas, some retail outlets, but you don't see the real factories, the real businesses that can hire a lot of people. So again, how can these people obtain capital? How can these people obtain access to capital and credit? If you don't have the opportunity, you don't have the resources, and you don't have the mechanisms, even if you have the so-called will, if there's not a plan in place to go along with the will, you're going to be very frustrated and find yourself not really getting into the level where you can obtain capital, which is money. I mean, either capital or credit. It's needed to go along with knowledge, and the corporate world is not going to be able to come down, or they're not willing to come down and provide the type of resources to make everything equal. So we're not going to have this so-called socialist society. You're going to have one form of a socialist society, one form of a capitalistic society. And the reality, when you wake up and realize this is how the game has been playing for a long time, or operating under for a long time, and if you feel hopeless and helpless, like you can't change anything, particularly for your own self, that's when it can really get to you. I mean, it's not an easy process to get out here and try to make dramatic changes that should have been made a long time ago. In the late 60s, we had a lot of riots and a lot of social unrest. Martin Luther King was working towards a working poor march. He realized that it was good to get the social justices corrected, get the civil rights issues corrected, but he realized towards the last year of his life that it was still the economic inequalities that was going to be the next challenge. It's good now that you can go into the hotels, but if you don't have the finance to be able to go into the hotels, you're not going to be able to go into the hotels. If you don't work with people that's developers that can buy the hotels, then you're going to still be looking at the hotels like I see skyscrapers and new development on the outside and not be able to participate in the inside. I can go in a lot of different areas about how some people can get their foot into this new economy, the hip hop stars, the athletes, that so-called elite people that weren't really at the level when Martin Luther King passed away. But I'll probably save that into the next program. So again, this is Jonathan Small giving you the Small Report. I hope everybody can pick up something on this conversation. And until the next time, I wish everybody the best.